the Soul School Tarot and Astrology, and I do not think I've ever really done a live on Facebook before. This is my very first one. There's nobody watching me yet. Okay, good, because I've got some things over here, just some notes that I want to put my eyeballs on, but welcome, welcome, welcome. My goal today is to do something. I'm really adjusting to this camera angle because it's a lot smaller than the one I had set up. Nonetheless, hi guys, welcome. Today what I'm going to do on my channel is something that I don't really think that I've done on my channel before, and that is witchcraft. You don't have to share it with anybody who doesn't want to play along, okay? But this is for all of my beginner witches out there, maybe mid-level, like even advanced experienced witches. I'm sure that there's lots that I can learn from you guys. So I just wanted to go ahead and come on because it is the solstice. The solstice is a very important part of the Celtic year. In fact, it comes along with the holiday of Yule, which we are in right now. From December 20th to the 23rd is the holiday of Yule. So happy Yule to you all. I have a little candle that I'm going to light. And then I want to do a smoke cleansing for you guys. This is a 3-step process. Whenever I want to make a big ritual of energetic cleansing, I usually try to do a 3-step smudging or smoke cleansing. So I have a couple of different smudge sticks with me here today. I've got juniper, pine, and chamomile. So we are honoring Jupiter and Saturn because they've got their great conjunction today, as well as the sun. So let's talk about this. Solstice is the return of the sun. That's what the ancients were celebrating, was the beginning of winter, of course. But this is the shortest day of the year, which means tomorrow is going to be a little brighter. And the day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that. All going to be a little bit brighter until we get to the summer solstice when things turn around. So it is definitely about the return of vitality, of warmth, of happiness, even though we are going into the coldest part of the year. So just some notes that I took over here. Channeled messages that I had coming in this morning. It's like we're stepping out of the darkness into the light. And here is the analogy that Spirit gave me, and I think it's really actually very, very beautiful. The moon is renewed once a month. All right. So every time we have a new moon, the moon is at its darkest. And from there, it's only going to get brighter, right? It's only going to get more and more illuminated. But with the sun, that only happens once a year. Okay, so you can think of this sun that's only going, it's at its darkest, it's only going to get brighter and brighter and brighter. You can think of it almost as a new sun, the way that we think of a new moon. So new moon is often the beginning of internal projects and manifestations. And I think we should all take the new sun as a herald of hope, re-entering the world. Okay, new beginnings on an external level. I think that that's what these eclipses were getting us ready for. I think that that is what this Jupiter and Saturn conjunction is trying to help us out with as well. To go ahead and bring in some new blessings so that we can kind of get moving forward on a new life, so to speak. There's a great big glare right here. I did everything I can to clear the camera lens before I started, so we're just going to take that as a hello from Spirit. So before I get started, you guys, if you're not into witchcraft, like, you're probably not here anymore. But for those of you who are, I just want to talk a little bit about how it's something that most of us are practicing in the dark, in silence, or just kind of following our own path. And I think that's fine. As a historian, I am a great big fan of pagan reconstructionism. And what that means, hello, Laura, happy solstice. I'm so glad that you are here. What that means to me is that a lot of the pagan traditions were completely demonized, distorted by the Catholic Church, by the dominant culture that we're all living in today. So it's difficult for us to reconstruct what it would have been like, those ancient pagan practices, because we don't have any documentation of it. So one of the ways in which I try to make up for that when I'm trying to get in touch with my own ancestors and my own ancestral connections, because I don't have that direct line of communication, is by doing research, but also by letting my guides guide me through that research. And then also I receive a lot of information and meditation on how to best kind of carry on the practices of our ancestors. So if you are a practicing witch and you're watching me being like, what is this girl doing? Just please understand that the way that I work with magic is you really, really do have to make it your own, in concert with the guidance that you're getting from your spirit guides and ancestors. So what else did I want to add to that? If you guys are interested in where I found the meaning of some of the things that I'm using today, I do want to recommend this book to you. This is Llewellyn's Complete Book of Correspondences. I do want to say that it focuses mostly on Western correspondences, things such as European, Celtic. There's a little bit of Native American in here, but it's very, very Western, very, very white. So that's just a little bit of a heads up on that. But what we're going to do today is we're going to begin by lighting a candle for Yule. I have a cauldron here. The significance of the cauldron to me is actually in ancient Irish mythology. There is a masculine god known as the Dagda. And one of his magical possessions, so to speak, is a cauldron that is always full. Meaning that when we rely on spirit, when we rely on the guidance of our ancestors, we will always be provided for. But it also reminds us to maintain that same spirit of generosity whenever anybody comes to us for sustenance or strength. So I'm gonna give you guys a peek inside my cauldron, okay? I've got just a little, where are you at? There we go, you guys. There you go. So I've got some juniper in there, some pine cones, hazelnuts, and cinnamon. Cinnamon represents warmth. Pine and juniper we're going to get to. And hazelnuts, you guys, the ancient inhabitants of the Irish Isles lived off of hazelnuts. It's magical. And so for me, they do represent prosperity and posterity. And like I said, everything that the Dagda's cauldron represents, knowing that nature provides for us. And so, by the way, you guys, in the background, I do have a track on that features the frequency of the sun. So we're just going to do a little bit of sun worship right now. I have a yellow candle in here. I'm just going to center myself and just be grateful. I'm going to express my gratitude for the sun. We got a whole bunch of the sunlight pouring in behind me. If you want to at this time, you can visualize each of your chakras as a shining sun. And that's one of the best ways to bring in the energy of the sun and to welcome him back for the solstice. So I'm going to go ahead and light that now. There we go. We've got our cauldron lit. Let's go ahead and do our 3-step smudging process. The first, I cracked my opal. The first smudge stick that I'm working today is with Jupiter. I'm sorry, I said Jupiter. Jupiter is a planet in the sky. Juniper is a tree. So for those of you who want to go ahead and participate in this, just imagine that we're doing this in your home, all right? Long distance energetic cleansings and blessings are definitely a thing. So just go ahead and imagine your energy and your aura and the space of your home being cleansed at this time as well. So we're starting with juniper. This is actually, they are all homemade smudge sticks. This one I bound during Samhain. Samhain, if I'm to pronounce it properly. So we're just going to light up some juniper right now and kind of let that smoke come in. Juniper is not a plant that produces a tremendous amount of smoke. It is one that has lots of these embers that fall. So whenever I use it, I always use it with a dish underneath. But the purpose of this juniper is to purify our environment. Okay. I love it. I love the smell of juniper. I always say it smells just like pagan Christmas, aka Yule. And yeah, this tree actually grows. There's 3 trees that grow a couple blocks from my house. And that's where I got this one. So juniper, by the way, is associated with the planet Jupiter as well as the sun. So we are honoring them both today. Jupiter meets up with Saturn in Aquarius. And I think that after this, I'm actually going to go live. Ooh, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and go live and do some live readings to see what Jupiter and Saturn have in store for us today. But for now, just go ahead and allow this to cleanse the energy that you are in right now, just to purify anything that is not your own to hold on to. Go ahead and let it go. Go ahead and let it go. If it's not making you grow, let it go. All right. And I believe that Jupiter and Saturn have many blessings to bring into us, but we've got to clear out our energy space to make sure that we are ready to receive. Okay. My second smudge stick, I'm really excited about. I hope it's actually ready to go. I did a little walkabout last week. Is today Monday already? Yeah, last Monday I was in Colorado on my walkabout, and in my travels I acquired a branch of pine, and that is really going to burn. This is another one we got to keep that dish underneath. I am sure some of you guys are probably made nervous by watching me play with fire. Pine is actually associated with both Jupiter and Saturn. And it is it is a protective magic that comes from pine. It is also very, very cleansing and helps to bring in the warmth that we will need to get us through the winter. So imagine yourself now being surrounded by a warm golden light. And understand that as long as you are cultivating positivity within, no negativity from outside can penetrate that. So here is our second smoke cleansing with pine. This third one I'm really, really excited about. This is one of my favorite plants to smudge with. But it's not, I think a lot of people go to white sage because it's easy and it's accessible. However, if that's not your ancestors, do your research, all right? If you guys have Celtic or European ancestors, please understand that everything that I'm doing here is in alignment with that tradition. But here we go. It's chamomile, you guys. Chamomile is such a sweet and beautiful scent and represents the sun. It represents vitality. It represents happiness. It represents energy and warmth. All right. So I will say, this is another homemade one. If you guys want to make your own homemade smudge sticks of chamomile, where I get this is at my local tienda. So it's a Mexican store that sells different herbal products. And that's where I find manzanilla and rama is what it's called. And it just means chamomile stems. Once it is lit, it is kind of hard to put out. So we're going to go ahead and get some of that going. Oh my gosh, the smell is so sweet. And with this one, once again, if you want to visualize each of your chakras glowing as a yellow sun, or you can just imagine yourself surrounded by warm, glowing sunlight. And allow it to penetrate your soul. I've still got the nub on the end of this one, so it is a little harder to light. Meaning that it's doubled over on the end. All right, there we've got some smoke. All right, this is honestly, you guys, nothing will bring happy vibes into your house faster than a quick chamomile smudge. Yeah. Most of all, I want to share with you guys that I'm very, very happy that you are here with me today. Definitely, this is a good time for the sun to return. That's why I want to show gratitude. That's why I want to welcome the sun back in. There's a lot of darkness in the world today. There's a lot of pestilence in the world today. There's a lot of loneliness and isolation. And I just want to let you guys know, like, friendship, companionship, camaraderie, that's something that I associate with chamomile and with the sun. So I want to thank all of you who are watching this video with me live, and all of those of you who find it at a later time. There's no channeled message. Did I say there was going to be one? Yeah, there was a channel message. I talked to you about the new sun. There's no reading, nothing like that. Just a nice energy cleansing for you guys, okay? And once again, I do have the sound of the sun playing in the background. So if you also want to be able to, on an individual level, welcome the sun back into your life, I will make sure to post that link in the description box as soon as I am done with the live. Thank you, Laura. Here is to the sun, and here is to love. Thank you so much for being here. I think it was Untitled Tarot. Is a new channel that a friend of mine introduced me to, and she was talking the other day in a reading about how, because of quarantine, during the actual, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere, during the actual spring and summer, we were really going through an energetic and an emotional, a mental fall and winter. And so what we should really do with this solstice is just go ahead and declare it spring once again. That's what I'm ready to do, okay? So, solstice blessings to all of you. Happy Yule. Merry Christmas. That's another thing that I've got down, you guys. A lot of people don't understand how I can sit here and talk about paganism and also honor the religion that essentially squashed it out. All right. But the fact of the matter is, just as I had ancestors that prayed to the Dagda, the Morrigan, and Bridget and Danu, I had ancestors who prayed to Jesus, who prayed to the good Lord above. All right. And nothing warms my heart more, honestly, in this whole world than the Christmas story, you guys. Especially when you look at the whole background of the historical background. Why were Mary and Joseph even on their way to Bethlehem to begin with? It was for a census. Did you know that? I'm not going to go too far off into that. What I'm going to say is that baby Jesus is a symbol of hope. Baby Jesus is the sun. Sol Invictus, look it up. Baby Jesus is the sun, all right? So his birth, very much, there's a reason why it is celebrated along with the solstice. My favorite astrology joke is there's no way that a Capricorn is going to sacrifice their life for all of the sins of humanity. So Jesus being born on December 25th, I don't really buy that. I think that obviously the reason why we celebrate his birth at the time that we celebrate the solstice is because the SON and the SUN both represent eternal light and love and happiness. And that is what we are welcoming back into our life at this time. Okay. I love you all. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Laura, many, many blessings to you. Here's to the sun. Here's to the sun. Take care, you guys. I'm going to see you again real soon for some live readings for the Great Conjunction. Take care. Now I have to figure out how to stop it.